But first, the death of Nancy Reagan, the actress, activist, and former First Lady, remembered for her love of politics, people, and above all, her husband. Good evening, I'm Cindy Hsu. Tonight, tributes are pouring in for Nancy Reagan, who was a Queens native, former actress and First Lady. Moments ago, Los Angeles police officers saluted her hearse as it left her home in the Bel Air district of Los Angeles. Mourners dropped off flowers after hearing about her death from congestive heart failure. CBS 2 political reporter Marcia Kramer is here with a look back at her impact on American history.
Well, Cindy, she was a First Lady who made many contributions to the nation in her own right. From her campaign against kids using drugs and alcohol, her battle with breast cancer, and her efforts to secure funding for Alzheimer's research. Nancy Reagan was also the devoted wife and fierce protector of the 40th president. Theirs was a true love story. A gentle rub, her head placed softly on her husband's coffin, one of the most memorable recent public images of Nancy Reagan, one that says everything about her love and devotion for her husband, the president, a man she called Ronnie.
I can't imagine marriage being any other way but the way that Ronnie's and mine was.
Reagan, the great communicator, also wrote tender love letters to his wife. Often they were whimsical, as in a Mother's Day letter that read, "M is for the million ways I love you." Signed, an admirer, with a thoughtful P.S. "I'm on the next pillow over." She was born in New York City in 1921 as Anne Frances Robbins, nicknamed Nancy. When her mother remarried, she moved to Chicago and took her stepfather's last name, Davis. After graduating from Smith College, she moved to Hollywood to become an actress.
I was afraid you wouldn't come.
She acted in about a dozen feature films. One of her last was opposite her future husband in a movie called Hellcats of the Navy. They married in 1952 and had two children, Patty and Ron Jr. They also raised Ronald Reagan's two children from a previous marriage. In 1967, she became First Lady of the state of California, First Lady of the United States in 1981.
I, Ronald Reagan, do solemnly swear.
I don't remember thinking anything except that, my gosh, here he is, and he's president.
During her husband's time in office, Nancy Reagan often appeared in designer gowns, especially red ones. She redecorated the White House, bought new china, but she also stayed close to her husband's side, even more so after an attempted assassination attempt in his first term. She reviewed his schedules and even consulted an astrologer for advice on security.
I was so obsessed with his safety that any time he went out of the house, I think my heart stopped.
Her lasting legacy as First Lady, her campaign against drugs.
What should you do when someone offers you drugs?
The Just Say No anti-drug campaign swept across the country and into schools, and even brought her to the United Nations as the first First Lady to address the General Assembly. It began after a young girl asked Mrs. Reagan for advice. She simply said, "Just say no."
I didn't mean that that was the whole answer, obviously, but it did serve a purpose.
After President Reagan was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, she became his devoted caretaker.
That's the worst part about this disease. There's nobody to exchange memories with.
Following his death in 2004, she put herself at odds with other Republicans, campaigning for federal funds for stem cell research to find a cure for Alzheimer's.
We've lost so much time already, and I just really can't bear to lose any more.
She attended fellow former First Lady Betty Ford's funeral in 2011 and visited her husband's grave on the 10th anniversary of his death.
Nancy Reagan was indispensable to every success that President Reagan enjoyed. She was his closest advisor. She was his constant protector. And, of course, she was the love of his life.
State Republican Chairman Ed Cox, Richard Nixon's son-in-law, worked in the Reagan administration.
She was so devoted to her husband, and through her husband, so devoted to the nation. It made her a very effective First Lady.
Well, Cox and his wife, Tricia Nixon Cox, will attend Nancy Reagan's funeral at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library in Simi Valley, California. He's been told it will be a sunset ceremony at the end of the week. She'll be buried next to her husband on the library grounds. Cindy?
Marcia, thank you. The pictures and the old footage is so amazing.
It is.
Thank you. All right, well, President Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama said our former First Lady redefined the role. Their statement reads in part, "We remain grateful for Nancy Reagan's life, thankful for her guidance, and prayerful that she and her beloved husband are together again." Celebrities are also reacting to Mrs. Reagan's death. For more tributes and a photo slideshow, visit our website, cbsnewyork.com.